the latest military news update. This is AFP Community News, hosted by Rob Susan every 12 noon, Mondays to Fridays. Only here on DWDD Armed Forces Radio. One AFP for a stronger Philippines.
6ID pledges full support for peaceful born parliamentary elections. U.S. Apache helicopters HIMARS to join Philippine troops in Operation Lightning Strike in Nueva Ecija. Philippines welcomes Israel and Iran ceasefire. DWDD distributes 348 million pesos in cash aid to Typhoon Karina survivors.
Hello to everyone, especially to our troops at Camp Emilio Ginaldo in Quezon City. Today is Thursday, June 26, and this is AFP Community News, your source for the updates of the armed forces and other developments across the country. I am Ralph Susan Abay, here to bring you today's stories.
DWDD Armed Forces News.
And for the brief overview of our news, the Joint Task Force Central at the 6th Infantry Division, led by Major General Donald Gumiran, reaffirmed their commitment to secure the upcoming Bangsamoro parliamentary elections on October 13, 2025. Representing Major General Gumiran at the Regional Joint Security Control Center meeting yesterday was Brigadier General Patricio Ruben Amata, the Assistant Division Commander of 6th ID. He was joined by military and police leaders, including Commission on Elections Chairperson George Erwin Garcia, to discuss coordinated security measures. Brigadier General Amata assured COMELEC of the military's readiness to safeguard election workers and uphold the polls' integrity.
DWDD Armed Forces News.
2 HIMARS platforms and 4 AH-64 Apache helicopters from the United States will join Philippine troops in Operation Lightning Strike, a live-fire drill under Salaknib Phase 2 in Palayan City, Nueva Ecija on June 30. Army spokesperson Colonel Louis de Maala said the Philippine Army and U.S. Army Pacific Forces will conduct coordinated deep attack operations. It aims to boost the interoperability and tactical skills. The closing ceremony of Salaknib Phase 2 is set for July 7 at Fort Magsaysay, led by Army Chief Lieutenant General Roy Galido.
Armed Forces Radio.
On the other hand, let us hear more from Leonor about AFP Chief, Malaysian Navy Chief strengthened maritime cooperation in courtesy call.
Armed Forces of the Philippines Chief of Staff General Romeo Browner Jr. welcomed Royal Malaysian Navy Chief Admiral Datuk Zuelmi bin Itnain during courtesy call at Camp Aguinaldo, Quezon City yesterday. Both officials discussed regional security interoperability and shared maritime interests. They reaffirmed strong defense ties and cooperation between the Philippines and Malaysia. The visit ended with an exchange of mementos and a renewal pledge to address common maritime challenges together. This is Leonor Tanap reporting for AFP Community News, 1FP for stronger Philippines.
Thank you, Leonor Tanap.
DWDD Armed Forces News.
The Philippine Air Force announced it will enhance its maritime patrol and disaster response capabilities through Japan's Official Security Assistance Program. Philippine Air Force Chief Lieutenant General Arthur Cordura said the OSA support significantly strengthens the country's maritime domain awareness. The aid package also includes equipment for humanitarian assistance and disaster relief. Japan allocated 1.6 billion yen, or approximately 611 million pesos for the PAF and Philippine Navy this fiscal year, marking the second OSA support since 2023.
DWDD Armed Forces News.
Military and police officials strongly condemn the New People's Army for a recent string of civilian killings in northern Negros, calling the attacks act of terrorism and disinformation. At least 6 civilians accused of being military informants have been killed since March, including Elias Palay and Putot Alzado, who were gunned down in Toboso town recently. 79th Infantry Battalion Civil Military Operations Head First Lieutenant Dan Somoza said that the victims were not army spies. Provincial Police Director Colonel Reynerio de Chavez confirmed an ongoing investigation into what authorities describe as a disturbing pattern of targeted assassinations.
Armed Forces Radio.
And now from NOLCOM, let us hear some information from Joanne about 69 former Central Luzon rebels surrendered to police authorities.
A total of 69 former rebels in Central Luzon surrendered to authorities from January 10 to June 4, 2025, in line with the national government's intensified campaign against insurgency. The surrenderies received livelihood and reintegration assistance through the Enhanced Comprehensive Local Integration Program, or ECLIP. In addition to the surrenderies, 135 individuals also withdrew their support from the communist terrorist group, indicating greater awareness of the harms of armed conflict and a stronger trust in the peace process. Authorities also recovered 108 firearms and 31 explosive devices during the said period, weakening the operational capacity of the communist terrorist group. Likewise, the Police Office Region 3 reaffirmed its commitment to sustain peace-building initiatives and uphold the safety and welfare of the public through continuous counterinsurgency efforts and community engagements. This is John Sagak reporting for AFP Community News, 1 AFP for Stronger Philippines.
Thank you, Joanne from NOLCOM.
DWDD Armed Forces News.
A joint military operation backed by accurate intelligence from former rebels and local residents severely weakened New People's Army Comisión Mindanao in Santa Josefa, Agusan del Sur, marking a major step toward ending communist insurgency in the region. Just on the 25th, 68th and 67th Infantry Battalions engaged Camid remnants attempting to regroup in Barangay Sayon. The encounter led to one rebel fatality, the seizures of foreign firearms, 2 IEDs, and a laptop. 11 members of the armed group, including key finance personnel, surrendered peacefully. The success followed the arrest of top Camid leaders at a checkpoint, providing actionable intelligence that exposed the rebel position.
DWDD National News.
And now for our national news, the Philippine government welcomed the ceasefire between Israel and Iran. The Department of Foreign Affairs called it a hopeful step toward lasting peace in the region. DFA spokesperson Maria Teresita Daza urged all parties to pursue dialogue and negotiations for a permanent solution. The ceasefire ended Tel Aviv's 12-day assault on Tehran, which Israel later declared a historic victory.
Armed Forces Radio.
And now from Solcom, let us hear from Jess about 31st IB facilitates peaceful surrender of 4 armed rebels in Albay.
Yes, Raw, 4 members of the communist terrorist group, including Gilbert Tolentino alias Mbit, voluntarily surrendered to the 31st Infantry Charge Battalion in Barangay Villahermosa, Daraga, Albay on June 23, 2025. The former rebels brought with them firearms and explosives as proof of their decision to abandon the armed struggle. Their surrender was made possible through the intensified anti-insurgency efforts of 31st IB and the strong support of the residents and barangay officials of San Vicente del Sol, Sorsogon, where Mbit originated. Lieutenant Colonel Joy O. Villanueva, commanding officer of 31st IB, said that the former rebels' decision to lay down their arms marks a significant step towards achieving a more peaceful and secure community. He emphasized that the Philippine Army does not seek violence, but rather aims to help former rebels reintegrate into society as a productive and law-abiding citizens. The 4 former rebels will undergo the Enhanced Comprehensive Local Integration Program, or ECLIP, where they will receive financial assistance, livelihood support, and reintegration services. This initiative is also supported by Sorsogon 7K Katrankiluhan program, which ensures a smooth transition and reintegration of former insurgents into mainstream society while promoting peace across the region. This is Jess from Telcom reporting for AFP Community News, one AFP for a stronger Philippines.
Thank you, Jess from Solcom.
DWDD National News.
The Department of Foreign Affairs has maintained Alert Level 3 in Israel, keeping voluntary repatriation in place as post-ceasefire conditions slowly stabilize. DFA awaits a recommendation from the Philippine Embassy in Tel Aviv before any alert level adjustment. DFA Undersecretary Eduardo Jose de Vega said that the agency reaffirmed their commitment in ensuring the safety and well-being of overseas Filipinos affected by the conflict. Meanwhile, repatriation efforts will continue, with around 340 Filipinos requesting to return home, including 50 initially scheduled via Jordan.
DWDD National News.
Relatedly, the Department of Health announced it will offer physical and mental health assessments to Filipinos recently repatriated from conflict-affected areas in the Middle East. The DOH is working closely with the Department of Migrant Workers to ensure coordinated support for returning citizens who may have experienced trauma and stress during their displacement. Last Tuesday, 31 Filipinos from Israel, Jordan, Palestine, and Qatar safely returned to the country through government-led efforts. Each will receive 150,000 pesos in assistance from the DMW and the Overseas Filipino or Overseas Workers Welfare Administration, along with transportation allowance for those returning to their home provinces.
Armed Forces Radio.
Let us hear more from Meljoy of First CRG about RCDG, RCPA conduct ROTC summer camp training in Isabela.
Yes, Rolf, the ROTC Summer Camp Training Class 27-2025 Indoor Squad Challenge and Obstacle Course held at Camp Melchor F. de la Cruz Annex Parade Ground, Suyong, Itiaga, Isabela. The Squad Challenge involves 3 events, namely field stripping M16, first aid bandaging, and manual carries, while the activities in Obstacle Course comprises sprint and drop, tire drag, ammo carry, war row obstacle, and tire obstacle. The activity aims to evaluate the degree and quality of training attained by the ROTC cadets during training and to develop their self-confidence, leadership, skill, teamwork, and camaraderie. This is Meljoy National Arauco reporting for AFP Community News, one AFP for stronger Philippines.
Thank you, Meljoy of First CRG.
DWDD National News.
Moreover, the Philippine National Police has intensified security measures in response to rising tensions between Israel and Iran. PNP spokesperson Police Brigadier General Jean Fajardo said the move aims to prevent any possible spillover of the conflict and ensure the public safety. Police have tightened monitoring of vital installations linked to the concerned countries. The PNP is also closely watching the situation of overseas Filipino workers in affected areas in coordination with other government agencies.
DWDD National News.
Diesel prices may roll back by 80 centavos to 1 peso and 10 centavos per liter next week, while gasoline could either increase by 10 centavos or decrease by 20 centavos. Jetty Petroleum President Leo Belias attributed the possible price adjustment in easing the tensions in the Middle East following the Israel-Iran ceasefire, which has reduced war risks premiums on crude oil. However, he noted that global oil prices remain volatile and final domestic rates will depend on market trends in the coming days. The Department of Energy is monitoring fuel outlets to ensure fair pricing after this week's staggered hikes raised pump prices by as much as 5 peso and 20 centavos per liter.
Armed Forces Radio.
More updates from Spencer. 6ID urges RPOC 12 to prioritize support for repatriated OFWs amid Mid-East conflict.
Indeed, Rof, Brigadier General Patricio Ruben P. Amata, Assistant Division Commander of the 6th Infantry Division, urged the Regional Peace and Order Council in Region 12 to proactively support repatriated overseas Filipino workers affected by the Israel-Iran conflict. Speaking at the second RPOC 12 meeting in Coronadal City, he stressed the need for early psychosocial support and reintegration programs to prevent radicalization risks among returnees, who also warned of the conflict's economic fallout, including rising oil prices and inflation, which could trigger public unrest. Relatedly, Roth, his school received full backing from RPOC 12 members and regional agencies. This is Spencer, reporting for AFP Community News, one AFP for a stronger Philippines.
Thank you, Spencer.
DWDD National News.
On the other hand, Senate President Cheese Escudero will push for legislation granting the Department of Finance standby authority to reduce the value-added tax on petroleum products during oil price surges. He said the government should not profit from rising oil prices, currently worsened by Middle East tensions at the public's expense. The current 12% VAT increases government revenue as oil prices rise, which he called unjust. To enable this, Congress must amend the tax reform for acceleration and inclusion, or the train law, and allow the DOF to adjust VAT rates when necessary.
DWDD National News.
The Department of Social Welfare Development has begun distributing over 348.75 million pesos in emergency cash transfer to more than 62,000 families affected by Super Typhoon Karina last July 2024. The payout started Tuesday in parts of Bataan and Pampanga and will continue until early July 2025. Each family will receive 5,625 pesos to help meet their basic needs. DSWD Assistant Secretary Irene Domlao emphasized that the agency, following President Ferdinand Marcos Jr.'s directive, is committed in helping families not just during the storm but throughout their recovery.
Armed Forces Radio.
And from our report on the ground, let us hear the report of Beth Tanyete about Philippine Army honors Korean War veterans on 75th anniversary.
The Philippine Army paid tribute to Korean War veterans during a wreath-laying ceremony at the Korean War Memorial Pylon Libingan ng mga Bayani yesterday. The Security Escort Battalion rendered honor to commemorate the heroism of 52 troops who fought alongside South Korean forces during the 1950 conflict. Army leaders highlighted the enduring legacy of Filipino veterans who defended freedom and democracy with courage and sacrifice. This is Beth Tanyete reporting for the AFP Community News, one AFP for the stronger Philippines.
Thank you, Beth Tanyete.
DWDD National News.
The Department of Justice will request Japan's assistance in deploying remote-operated submersible robots to search the bed of Taal Lake, following claims that missing cockfight aficionados were dumped there. Justice Secretary Jesus Remulla said investigators aim to use ROVs to examine the lake's sediments and locate possible evidence. He also called the whistleblower's allegations credible and emphasized that the case involves mass murder, not subject to settlement. Authorities continue to pursue justice for the 34 missing individuals and their family.
DWDD National News.
The Amandayihan port in Basi, Samar is now fully operational, boosting passenger and cargo movement between Samar and Leyte amid weight limits at San Juanico Bridge. The Philippine Ports Authority announced that 6 landing craft tank vessels are now running 24/7 between Tacloban and Basi. The 410 million pesos port upgrade improves the capacity, safety, and regional connectivity. Navigational aids have also been installed, and authorities vowed to address illegal practices reported at other regional ports.
Armed Forces Radio.
Some information from Jai about Philippine Army. Royal Thai Army strengthened ties in 4th Bonifacio visit.
Yes, Rolf, the Philippine Army welcomed Royal Thai Army delegates led by Major General Cornporn Wanacom at Fort Bonifacio, Taguig City. Brigadier General Juvencio F. Gonzalez, acting Vice Commander of the Philippine Army, honored the visit with a wreath-laying ceremony. They also engaged in discussions on ongoing bilateral military activities. The Thai delegates will participate in a subject matter expert exchange with the Philippine Army Reserve Command to bolster cooperation and enhance both nations' reserve force capabilities. This is Jai reporting for AFP Community News, one AFP for a stronger Philippines.
Thank you, Jai.
Armed Forces Radio.
Let us hear more from Gina about AFP Medical Service celebrates 127th anniversary.
Yes, Raf, the Armed Forces of the Philippines Medical Service celebrated its 127th founding anniversary at Camp Emilio Aguinaldo, Quezon City yesterday. AFP Chief of Staff General Romeo S. Browner Jr. commended the unit for its vital role in military and civilian healthcare, especially during crises. Surgeon General Brigadier General Fatima Claire S. Navarro joined him in awarding outstanding healthcare providers and stakeholders. The event highlighted the AFP Medical Services commitment to world-class, compassionate care for the nation's defenders. This is Gina reporting for AFP Community News, one AFP for stronger Philippines.
Thank you, Gina.
DWDD National News.
House Speaker Ferdinand Martin Romualdez assured that the chamber will allocate funding for the hiring of 20,000 new public school teachers. This is in line with President Ferdinand Marcos Jr.'s push to improve education quality. Romualdez said the funding will continue under the Department of Education's 2025 budget led by Secretary Sonny Angara. He stressed the urgency of hiring more teachers due to growing student numbers and shortages in a remote barangay.
Forces Radio. DWDD Armed Forces News.
And that concludes today's broadcast, and thank you for tuning in, especially to our audience on AFP Radio, the DWDD's Facebook page. Be sure to join and catch us again tomorrow for more stories and updates, same time and same station. Once again, this is Ralph Susan Abay for AFP Community News, one AFP for a stronger Philippines.
Behold the latest military news update. This is AFP Community News, hosted by Rob Susan every 12 noon, Mondays to Fridays. Only here on DWDD Armed Forces Radio. One AFP for a stronger Philippines.
Ito ang DWDD 1134 kHz AM. Balita, impormasyon at musika. Ito ang DWDD AFP Radio. Boses ng Kawal Pilipino.
Kayo ay nakatutok sa DWDD AFP Radio. Kami po ay kasapi ng KBP, Kapisanan ng mga Broadcaster ng Pilipinas.